component here, app. And a lot of times if you find yourself using map or something, it kind of seems like the thing that returns probably belongs in a separate component. For one thing, this is getting rather long here. So it seems like each individual Acrobat could be its own component. Or rather, there could be one Acrobat component that represents any number of Acrobats. Here's what I mean. So let's make another component, and I'll just put it right here in the same file for now. So I'll make a new one. Class Acrobat extends React.component. Every class component needs a render method. There's no state in this component. We just want it to do this, really. We want this li. And inside here, I don't want to call it current Acrobat. I just want to call it Acrobat. Okay, swell. There's a component. I forgot my return statement. But this isn't going to work just yet. It's going to complain that Acrobat is not defined. Right? There's no variable called Acrobat inside our Acrobat component. That's data that's going to have to come from the outside. So what does that mean? If we want data from outside the component to come into component, we have to use what? Anybody remember? Say it again. Anybody? Props. So state to manage data internally, props to get data into a component. Just like if a function needs data from the outside, you have to have an argument, right? That's the only way to get new data into that function. Pass it as an argument. To get data into a component from the outside, you need props. Props are like the arguments to your component. And the list of Acrobats is in a totally different component. It's in app. So to access your props, it's on an object called this.props. So this.props.acrobat.name, this.props.acrobat.feet. So what we can do is down in app, where we have our map, instead of putting the li in here, we can just put the Acrobat component. Self-closing tag, doesn't have any contents. But Acrobat is written so that it kind of needs this prop, right? We need a prop called Acrobat. So to pass a prop into a component, you write them just like HTML attributes. So it wanted a prop named Acrobat, so let's give it one. And we'll set it to whatever the current Acrobat is. Needs to be inside curly braces. It's a JavaScript expression. It's a variable name. And there we go. Now the same thing's happening, but we're using two components to do it. So here I am rendering my Acrobat component, passing it in a prop called lowercase a Acrobat. So inside that component, I can then say this.props.acrobat and get whatever that object happens to be. And everything else still works. So now if we want to change the way Acrobats appear, it's really easy. We just go right to this one-line component and fiddle with it. We don't have to worry about changing the app, because app just renders whatever the Acrobat component happens to be. So breaking it up into components makes it easier to maintain. It can make each component very easy to manage. So it's very easy to tell what's going on here. It's very uncomplicated. All it does is render an li with a couple of values that come from a prop.
And like, you could pass props like from one component to the other, right?
Exactly.
Like, so can you like pass props like from the HTML code?
From HTML, all you're ever going to do with HTML is put in that one thing that gets replaced at the very beginning. So JSX looks like HTML, but is not, right? You cannot do anything with React inside actual HTML. It all happens in JavaScript. Did that answer your question? Other questions about this? Okay, so this is our relatively simple React component or React app. You can see we're already doing a lot of what we did last week. We're creating new LIs out of nowhere, adding them to the page. If you wanted to change, if you wanted to put each thing in its own span, just do it here. And it's done. Nothing else to it. We don't have to do document.createElement span or anything complicated like that. Just add it to your JSX and it happens. Cool?